There is a quiet truth that most people discover only after years of chasing success, approval, and recognition. The more they try to control the world around them, the more exhausted they become. They spend their days responding to criticism, comparing themselves to others, explaining every decision, and seeking validation from people who may never truly understand them. In the process, they lose sight of the one person they were always meant to improve, themselves. But life changes the moment you stop looking outward and begin looking inward. The moment you shift your attention from other people's opinions to your own character, from constant noise to intentional silence, from proving your worth to building it, something remarkable begins to happen. Your mind becomes clearer, your emotions become steadier, your decisions become wiser. You stop reacting to everything, and you start responding with purpose. Silence is not the absence of power. It is the presence of self-mastery. It is the discipline to remain calm when others expect anger, to remain focused when distractions compete for your attention, and to continue growing without needing applause. The strongest people are rarely the loudest. They understand that real strength is built in private, through daily discipline, patient effort, and unwavering commitment to becoming better than they were yesterday. Today's message is not about escaping the world. It is about learning how to stand firmly within it, without allowing every opinion, every conflict, and every distraction to steal your peace. Because when your focus returns to yourself, when your actions become more powerful than your words, and when your inner world is guided by clarity instead of chaos, life begins to move differently. Opportunities become easier to recognize, relationships become healthier, challenges become teachers instead of enemies, and the path ahead becomes clearer than ever before. So, if you are tired of carrying unnecessary burdens, tired of comparing your journey with everyone else's, and ready to build a life grounded in purpose rather than approval, then listen carefully. The lesson you are about to hear has the power to transform not only the way you think, but the way you live. For when you focus on yourself and learn the strength of silence, everything else begins to fall into its rightful place. Most people believe strength is measured by how loudly someone speaks, how quickly they respond, or how fiercely they defend themselves. From an early age, we are taught that standing our ground means answering every insult, correcting every misunderstanding, and proving ourselves whenever we are questioned. Society often rewards those who dominate conversations and draw attention to themselves. As a result, many begin to mistake constant reaction for confidence. But if you observe life carefully, you will notice something different. The strongest individuals are rarely the ones making the most noise. They carry a calm presence that cannot be shaken by every opinion or every challenge. Their power does not come from overpowering others. It comes from mastering themselves. Silence is not weakness. It is one of the highest forms of discipline because it requires you to control what most people cannot, the impulse to react. Anyone can speak in anger. Anyone can interrupt. Anyone can raise their voice to defend their pride. But remaining calm when emotions demand expression requires tremendous inner strength. Every moment you choose silence over unnecessary conflict, you are training your mind to become stronger than your emotions. You are teaching yourself that not every thought deserves to become a word, and not every feeling deserves an immediate reaction. Think about how much energy people lose every single day because they react to everything around them. A stranger leaves a negative comment, and it occupies their thoughts for hours. Someone criticizes their work, and they spend days trying to prove that person wrong. A disagreement occurs, and instead of finding peace, they replay the conversation repeatedly in their minds, imagining better responses and wishing they had spoken differently. Their attention becomes trapped by events that no longer exist. They sacrifice today's peace for yesterday's argument. But the disciplined mind asks a different question. Instead of asking, "How do I win this argument?" it asks, "Is this argument worth my peace?" That single question has the power to transform your entire life, because not every battle deserves your participation. Some conflicts only exist because someone is waiting for your reaction. The moment you refuse to provide it, the conflict begins to lose its power. Silence is not surrender. Sometimes it is the clearest declaration that your peace is more valuable than your pride. This does not mean becoming passive or allowing others to disrespect you endlessly. There is a difference between silence born from fear and silence born from wisdom. Fear remains quiet because it feels powerless. Wisdom remains quiet because it understands that every response has a cost. Wise people choose their words carefully because they know words cannot be taken back once, as they are released. They understand that speaking less allows them to observe more, and observation often reveals truths that constant talking can never uncover. When you become comfortable with silence, something remarkable begins to happen inside your mind. You stop feeling the need to explain yourself to everyone. You stop chasing the impossible goal of being understood by every person you meet. You realize that some people have already decided who they think you are, and no amount of explanation will change their perspective. Instead of exhausting yourself trying to control their opinions, you invest that energy into improving your own character. This shift is incredibly freeing because it places your attention back where it belongs, on the only person you truly have the power to change. Silence also sharpens awareness. In a noisy mind, wisdom struggles to be heard. When your thoughts are constantly racing, when your attention is pulled in every direction, it becomes difficult to recognize what truly matters. But when you create moments of stillness, your mind begins to settle like calm water. Only then can you see clearly. Solutions that once seemed impossible become obvious. Decisions become easier because they are no longer driven by impulse. You begin responding with intention instead of reacting out of habit. Consider the strength of a mountain. It does not argue with the wind. It does not chase the clouds. Storms come, rain falls, seasons change, yet the mountain remains where it is. Its stability is not created by resistance, but by its foundation. Your mind can become like that mountain. Criticism may arrive. Praise may arrive. Success and failure may alternate throughout your life. But if your foundation is built on self-mastery rather than external approval, none of these temporary conditions will determine your inner state. There is another lesson hidden within silence. It teaches humility. When we speak constantly, we often seek recognition. We want others to notice our knowledge, our achievements, or our opinions. But silence reminds us that growth does not require an audience. A tree does not become taller because people applaud it. It grows because it continues drawing nourishment from deep within the earth. In the same way, your greatest transformation will never depend on how many people notice your progress. It will depend on your willingness to continue improving, even when nobody is watching. As your silence becomes intentional, your presence begins to change. People notice that you are no longer easily provoked. Small inconveniences no longer disturb your peace. Harsh words no longer control your emotions. You become slower to judge, quicker to understand, and more patient with both yourself and others. This calmness is not something you pretend to have. It is the natural result of repeatedly choosing discipline over impulse. Every time you refuse to react unnecessarily, you strengthen your character. Every time you remain composed under pressure, you prove to yourself that your mind is becoming stronger than your circumstances. Eventually, you discover that true strength has never been about controlling other people. It has always been about controlling yourself. It is found in the ability to remain peaceful when chaos surrounds you, to remain focused when distractions compete for your attention, and to remain humble when success begins to arrive. That is the quiet power of silence. It asks for nothing from the world, yet it gives you everything that truly matters: clarity, resilience, self-respect, and an unshakable inner strength that no outside force can ever take away. Your attention is the most valuable resource you possess, yet it is also the one thing most people give away without realizing its worth. Every morning, before they have even taken a moment to understand their own thoughts, they allow the world to decide what deserves their focus. Notifications appear, opinions flood their minds, comparisons begin, and before the day has truly started, Their energy has already been scattered in 100 different directions. Then they wonder why they feel exhausted despite accomplishing so little. The answer is simple. A distracted mind cannot build a meaningful life. Where your attention goes, your life follows. This is not merely a motivational phrase. It is a principle that shapes every habit, every decision, and ultimately every future. If your attention constantly rests on what other people are doing, your mind becomes occupied with comparison instead of growth. If your attention remains fixed on criticism, your confidence slowly erodes. If you repeatedly revisit past failures, your future becomes trapped by yesterday's mistakes. Attention is like water flowing through a garden. Whatever receives it begins to grow. If you water weeds, they multiply. If you water strong roots, they become unshakable. Many people believe they lack discipline when, in reality, they simply lack direction for their attention. They sit down with the intention of improving themselves, but within minutes, their mind wanders towards someone else's achievements, someone else's opinions, or someone else's lifestyle. They compare chapters of different stories and then feel discouraged because their own journey looks different. What they fail to understand is that comparison steals the very time needed to create progress. Every minute spent measuring your life against another person's is a minute that could have been invested in becoming a stronger version of yourself. Imagine an archer preparing to hit a distant target. Before releasing the arrow, everything else disappears from his awareness. He does not watch the crowd. He does not worry about who is standing beside him. He does not turn around to see who is watching. His entire attention settles on one point. That focus is what gives the arrow its direction. Life operates in exactly the same way. If your attention keeps moving from one distraction to another, your efforts lose their direction. But when your attention remains steady, even small daily actions begin carrying tremendous power. This is why silence becomes such a valuable teacher. Silence removes unnecessary competition for your attention. It creates space where you can observe your own thoughts instead of absorbing everyone else's. Within that quiet space, you begin noticing habits you ignored before. You recognize excuses that once seemed reasonable. You identify fears that have quietly controlled your decisions. Most importantly, you begin seeing possibilities that constant noise prevented you from recognizing. The modern world profits from distraction. Every platform competes for your attention because attention has become one of the most valuable currencies in existence. The longer your focus remains elsewhere, the less time you spend building your own life. There is nothing wrong with enjoying entertainment or staying informed, but problems begin when these things consume the hours that should have been invested in your own growth. A person who spends years observing others may know everything about the world while understanding almost nothing about themselves. Real transformation begins when you reclaim ownership of your attention. Instead of asking, "What is everyone else doing?" begin asking, "What kind of person am I becoming today?" Instead of wondering why someone else is succeeding, ask whether your own daily habits are leading you toward excellence. Instead of reacting to every opinion, choose carefully which thoughts deserve a place in your mind. Not every voice deserves your attention, and not every distraction deserves your response. There is remarkable freedom in becoming selective with your focus. You stop feeling obligated to participate in every argument. You stop chasing every opportunity that promises quick rewards. You stop allowing temporary emotions to dictate permanent decisions. Your energy becomes concentrated rather than scattered, and concentrated energy has extraordinary power. A river flowing in many directions loses its force, but when that same water is guided into one channel, it can carve through solid rock. Human attention works the same way. Never underestimate the impact of small moments of focused effort. Reading 10 pages each day may seem insignificant, but over time it transforms your understanding. Practicing a skill for one focused hour each day may appear ordinary, but months later, that ordinary effort produces extraordinary ability. Speaking kindly to yourself each morning may feel simple, but gradually it reshapes your confidence. Great lives are rarely built through dramatic changes. They are built through thousands of moments when attention is deliberately placed where it matters most. The day you stop allowing the outside world to control your attention is the day you begin taking control of your future. Your mind becomes calmer because it is no longer pulled in countless directions. Your goals become clearer because they are no longer buried beneath unnecessary distractions. Your confidence grows because it is rooted in progress rather than comparison. And as your attention returns to what truly matters, your character, your discipline, your purpose, and your growth, you will discover a truth that many people spend a lifetime searching for. When your focus remains on becoming your best self, everything else gradually begins to align around that decision. One of the greatest misunderstandings in today's world is the belief that growth must always be visible. People assume that if progress cannot be seen, then it is not happening. They measure success by recognition, followers, applause, and immediate results. But nature has always taught a different lesson. Before the tallest tree reaches toward the sky, it spends countless days growing beneath the ground. No one applauds its roots. No one admires the quiet work taking place in the darkness. Yet without that invisible foundation, the tree could never withstand the storms that will eventually come. Your life follows the same principle. The strongest version of yourself is not built in front of an audience. It is built in the ordinary moments, when no one is watching, when there is no praise to encourage you, and when the only reason to continue is because you have chosen growth over comfort. Too many people have become addicted to announcing their intentions instead of living them. They tell everyone about the business they will start, the body they will build, the discipline they will develop, or the dreams they will pursue. For a brief moment, those words bring excitement. They receive encouragement, compliments, and attention. But something subtle happens. The satisfaction of talking begins to replace the satisfaction of doing. The mind mistakes recognition for accomplishment. Days pass, weeks pass, and the excitement fades because it was built upon conversation instead of action. Real transformation asks for something entirely different. It asks you to become comfortable with being unseen. It asks you to wake up early when no one knows, to study after everyone else has stopped, to train your body when there is no camera recording your effort, to improve your character in conversations that no one else will ever hear. These are the moments that define your future, not the moments that receive applause. The world celebrates visible victories, but it rarely sees the thousands of invisible decisions that created them. Consider the craftsman who spends years mastering a skill. People admire the finished work and call it talent, yet they never witness the countless mistakes, the repetitive practice, the frustration, and the quiet determination that transformed an ordinary beginner into a master. Excellence is almost always invisible before it becomes obvious. By the time others notice your success, the real work has already been completed in silence. This is why patience becomes one of the greatest forms of strength. Every meaningful achievement requires time. Yet modern life constantly pressures you to seek immediate results. You plant a seed today and expect fruit tomorrow. You begin learning a new skill and become discouraged because you are not exceptional within a few weeks. You start improving your habits, but abandon them because change feels slow. The problem is not that progress has stopped. The problem is that you have mistaken slow progress for no progress at all. Growth often whispers before it speaks loudly. It begins with small changes that are almost impossible to notice. You become slightly more patient than you were yesterday. You react with a little less anger. You make one healthier decision. You remain focused for a few more minutes than before. None of these improvements seem extraordinary on their own. Yet over months and years, these tiny victories reshape your entire identity. Greatness is never created by one dramatic moment. It is built through thousands of ordinary moments, repeated with extraordinary consistency. There will also be seasons when it feels as though nothing is happening. You continue working, learning, and improving, yet the results remain hidden. These are the moments when many people quit because they believe their efforts are wasted. But hidden seasons are not empty seasons. They are preparation. Just as winter appears lifeless while nature quietly prepares for spring, your periods of silence often contain the deepest transformation. You may not see immediate evidence of change, but every disciplined action is strengthening your foundation. This is why comparison becomes so dangerous. You are comparing your unseen preparation with someone else's visible success. You see their achievements, but not their years of sacrifice. You admire their confidence, but overlook the countless moments they doubted themselves and kept going anyway. Every successful person has a chapter that the world never witnessed. Every respected individual has endured seasons where they questioned whether their efforts would ever matter. What separated them from everyone else was not extraordinary talent. It was the willingness to continue when there was no audience, no recognition, and no guarantee of success. There is a unique freedom that comes when you stop needing others to witness your progress. You no longer measure your worth by likes, compliments, or approval. Instead, your confidence grows from keeping promises to yourself. Every quiet morning of discipline becomes evidence that you can be trusted. Every difficult decision made according to your values strengthens your character. Slowly, you become the kind of person whose confidence is built from within rather than borrowed from the opinions of others. Remember that the strongest foundations are rarely visible. Buildings stand tall because of what lies beneath them, not because of what can be seen from the outside. In the same way, your resilience, wisdom, discipline, and integrity are developed in silence long before they are revealed through success. So never become discouraged because your progress feels invisible. Continue learning, continue practicing, continue refining your mind and your character even when no one notices. The world may celebrate the results one day, but your greatest victory will not be the recognition you receive. It will be knowing that the person you became was shaped by quiet consistency, unwavering patience, and the courage to keep growing long before anyone believed you could. One of the greatest prisons a person can live in is the constant need for approval. It is an invisible prison because, from the outside, everything may appear normal. You may have friends, a career, ambitions, and goals. You may smile, laugh, and celebrate achievements. Yet beneath all of that, your decisions are quietly controlled by one question. What will people think? That single question has stopped countless dreams before they ever had the chance to grow. It has convinced intelligent people to remain silent when they should have spoken. It has persuaded talented individuals to abandon their purpose because they feared criticism more than they valued progress. And it has led many to build lives that satisfy everyone except themselves. The truth is that approval is temporary, but character is permanent. People's opinions change with circumstances. The same crowd that praises you today may criticize you tomorrow. The same people who admire your success may question your decisions when you choose a different path. If your confidence depends on their applause, then your confidence will disappear the moment the applause stops. That is why building your identity on the opinions of others is like building a house on moving sand. No matter how beautiful it looks, it cannot remain stable when the ground beneath it constantly shifts. Character is different. Character does not ask for permission before doing what is right. Character remains honest even when dishonesty would be easier. Character continues working even when no one is watching. It chooses patience over impulse, integrity over convenience, and truth over popularity. These choices are rarely dramatic. They happen quietly, in ordinary moments, when no audience is present. Yet those ordinary moments become the foundation of an extraordinary life. Many people believe confidence comes from hearing compliments. Real confidence comes from making promises to yourself and keeping them. Every time you wake up when you said you would, every time you finish a task instead of procrastinating, every time you choose discipline over comfort, you send a powerful message to your own mind. I can trust myself. That trust becomes stronger than any praise another person could offer. It creates a confidence that remains steady because it is built on evidence, not emotion. There will always be people who misunderstand your intentions. Some will judge your silence as weakness. Others will mistake your focus for arrogance. Some may even criticize you simply because your growth reminds them of the changes they have avoided in their own lives. If you spend your energy correcting every misunderstanding, you will never have enough energy left to continue growing. Wisdom teaches that not every opinion deserves your attention. Some opinions reveal more about the person speaking than the person being judged. Imagine a tree standing through every season. It does not stop growing because someone dislikes its shape. It does not refuse to bear fruit because another tree is taller. It remains rooted in its own purpose. Storms arrive, winds blow, leaves fall, yet the tree continues to deepen its roots. Human beings often do the opposite. Instead of strengthening their roots, they spend their lives measuring themselves against every other tree in the forest. Comparison steals joy because it shifts your attention away from your own journey. The moment you begin comparing your chapter 3 to someone else's chapter 20, you lose sight of the progress you have already made. Your life was never designed to be a copy of another person's story. Every individual carries different strengths, different struggles, different lessons, and a different purpose. Trying to earn universal approval requires becoming whoever other people expect you to be. Eventually, you wear so many masks that you forget your own face. The greatest freedom comes when you no longer feel obligated to perform for the expectations of others. Instead, you begin asking a better question. Am I becoming someone I can respect? That question changes everything. It shifts your focus away from external applause and toward internal growth. Instead of asking whether people are impressed, you ask whether you acted with integrity. Instead of wondering if everyone agrees with your decision, you ask whether your decision aligns with your values. These questions produce peace because they place your life back under your own responsibility. Character is built through consistency, not perfection. You will make mistakes. You will experience failure. There will be days when you fall short of your own expectations. But failure does not destroy character. Refusing to learn from failure does. A person of character does not pretend to be flawless. They accept responsibility, correct their course, and continue moving forward with greater wisdom. Every setback becomes another opportunity to strengthen resilience instead of another excuse to surrender. As you continue this journey, you will notice something remarkable. The less you chase approval, the more authentic your relationships become. The people who truly value you will appreciate your honesty instead of your performance. The respect you receive will no longer depend on pretending to be perfect, but on consistently living according to your principles. Your words will carry greater weight because they come from conviction rather than insecurity. Your actions will become more meaningful because they are guided by purpose instead of popularity. Never forget that the world does not need another person trying to impress everyone. It needs people whose values remain steady when circumstances become difficult, whose integrity survives temptation, and whose character remains strong even when no one is watching. Build that kind of life. Protect your principles more carefully than your reputation. Invest more time in becoming trustworthy than becoming admired, because admiration can be given and taken away in a moment, but character becomes a lifelong companion that no one can steal. When your life is rooted in character instead of approval, you no longer fear changing opinions, passing criticism, or temporary rejection. You walk your path with quiet confidence, knowing that the strongest foundation is not built on what others think about you, but on the person you choose to become every single day. There is a simple truth that many people overlook. Words are easy, but discipline is rare. Anyone can announce a dream. Anyone can tell the world about the person they hope to become. Anyone can make promises when motivation is high. But life has never rewarded intentions alone. It rewards consistency. It rewards those who continue moving forward long after excitement has disappeared. This is why discipline speaks louder than words. Your actions reveal your priorities. far more honestly than your promises ever can. Look closely at people who have built lives of lasting excellence. You will notice something interesting. They do not spend most of their time talking about what they are going to accomplish. They spend their time doing the work. While others are making announcements, they are making progress. While others are seeking attention, they are seeking improvement. Their confidence does not come from telling people how capable they are. It comes from quietly proving it to themselves every single day. Many people fall into the trap of confusing talking with achieving. They believe that speaking about a goal brings them closer to it. In reality, talking often creates the illusion of progress without requiring any effort. For a brief moment, receiving encouragement from others feels satisfying. Friends applaud the idea. Family offers praise. Social media rewards the announcement. But when the applause fades, the work remains. The challenge remains. The early mornings, the difficult choices, the repeated failures, and the ordinary days of practice are still waiting. This is where discipline separates itself from motivation. Motivation is emotional. Discipline is intentional. Motivation says, I will begin when I feel inspired. Discipline says, I will continue whether I feel inspired or not. That difference changes the course of an entire life. Think about a sculptor standing before a massive block of stone. The masterpiece is not created by one powerful strike. It is shaped through thousands of careful movements, each one almost invisible on its own. Some days the progress appears so small that it feels as though nothing is changing. Yet every precise strike removes what does not belong and reveals what has always been hidden inside. Your character develops in exactly the same way. Every disciplined choice removes another layer of weakness. Every promise you keep to yourself reveals another layer of strength. This is why you should never underestimate small actions. Reading 10 pages every day may not seem impressive. Exercising for 30 minutes may appear ordinary. Waking up on time, practicing a skill, choosing patience over anger, and remaining focused instead of distracted may not earn applause from anyone. Yet these quiet decisions are shaping the person you are becoming. Character is not built during extraordinary moments. It is built during ordinary moments, repeated consistently over time. There is also great wisdom in protecting your goals with silence. Not every dream needs an audience. In fact, many dreams grow stronger when they are allowed to develop quietly. A seed does not push through the soil because people are watching it. It grows because its roots continue reaching deeper into the earth. Your goals deserve the same protection. Instead of announcing every plan, invest that energy into daily action. Let your work become your conversation. Let your improvement become your introduction. When people constantly explain what they intend to do, they often become dependent on external validation. They begin measuring progress by how much attention they receive, rather than by how much they've actually grown. This is a dangerous habit because attention is temporary. Some days people will support you. Other days they will ignore you. If your determination depends on their reactions, your discipline will disappear whenever the applause does. Real discipline is independent. It does not require witnesses. It does not need compliments. It continues in empty rooms, quiet mornings, and difficult seasons. It understands that the most important person watching is the one looking back from the mirror. Every day you either strengthen or weaken the trust you have in yourself. When you consistently do what you said you would do, even when no one else knows about it, you build self-respect that cannot be taken away by criticism or failure. There will be moments when your progress feels invisible. You will wonder if the effort is worth it. You will question whether your sacrifices are making any difference. During those moments, remember that nature rarely reveals its greatest work immediately. Rivers carve valleys over years, not days. Trees spend seasons strengthening their roots before reaching higher into the sky. The strongest foundations are built long before anyone notices the structure standing above them. Your own growth follows the same principle. Every disciplined decision is laying another stone beneath your future. Eventually, results begin to appear. People who once overlooked your efforts suddenly notice your confidence. They admire your patience, your resilience, your wisdom, and your success. Many will call your progress an overnight transformation, never realizing they are witnessing the outcome of years of quiet consistency. They see the harvest, but never the countless days you spent planting, watering, and waiting. So resist the urge to constantly explain yourself. Resist the temptation to seek recognition before you have earned it. Choose the quieter path of steady improvement. Wake up each day committed not to impress the world, but to honor your own potential. Speak less about what you hope to become and spend more time becoming it. In the end, people may forget your promises, your speeches, and your announcements, but they will always remember the life your actions created. And more importantly, you will become someone who no longer needs to speak loudly, because your discipline will say everything that words never could. There comes a point in life when you realize that peace is not something you find somewhere else. It is something you create within yourself. Many people spend years believing that happiness will arrive when their circumstances improve, when they earn more money, when people finally appreciate them, or when every problem disappears. But life has a way of proving that there will always be another challenge waiting, another expectation to meet, another obstacle to overcome. If your peace depends on the absence of difficulty, then peace will always remain temporary. Real peace begins the moment you stop allowing external events to control your inner world. An undisciplined mind reacts to everything. Every criticism becomes a wound. Every delay becomes frustration. Every disagreement becomes a personal attack. Such a mind lives as though it is being pulled in 100 different directions at once. But a peaceful mind behaves differently. It pauses before reacting. It observes before judging. It understands that not everything deserves attention, and that not every problem deserves an emotional response. This simple shift changes the quality of your entire life. When your inner world becomes calm, your decisions become wiser. Fear no longer controls your choices. Impulse no longer dictates your actions. Instead of making decisions based on temporary emotions, you begin making them according to long-term values. You ask yourself not what feels comfortable today, but what will make you stronger tomorrow. This kind of thinking separates those who merely survive from those who continue growing through every season of life. Many people believe success comes from working harder than everyone else. Hard work is important, but without inner peace, even success can become another burden. A restless mind carries stress into every achievement. It reaches one goal only to become anxious about the next. Satisfaction never lasts because comparison never ends. The finish line keeps moving farther away. Inner peace breaks this endless cycle. It teaches you to appreciate progress without becoming attached to perfection. You continue striving for excellence, but your happiness is no longer postponed until some distant future. Relationships also change when peace becomes your foundation. You stop expecting other people to complete you because you are no longer empty inside. You stop demanding constant approval because your self-worth no longer depends on outside validation. You become a better listener because your mind is not busy preparing arguments. You become more patient because you understand that everyone is fighting battles you cannot see. Instead of reacting with anger, you respond with understanding. Instead of creating conflict, you become someone who naturally brings stability into every room you enter. This does not mean you become passive or accept disrespect. Inner peace is not weakness. It is the strength to choose wisdom over impulse. It allows you to set healthy boundaries without hatred. It allows you to walk away from unnecessary conflict without feeling defeated. It allows you to forgive, not because others always deserve it, but because you refuse to carry the weight of bitterness any longer. The greatest prison is not built from walls. It is built from resentment that refuses to leave the heart. As your mind becomes quieter, you begin noticing opportunities that constant distraction once hid from you. Clarity emerges where confusion once existed. Solutions appear because your attention is no longer consumed by meaningless noise. Creativity grows because your thoughts have room to breathe. Many people search desperately for purpose while surrounding themselves with endless distractions. But purpose rarely shouts. It whispers. Only a quiet mind can hear it. This is why silence and self-focus are so powerful together. Silence gives you space to think. Self-focus gives you direction. Together, they create a life built on intention instead of reaction. You stop living according to what everyone else expects and begin living according to what your deepest values demand. Every small habit becomes meaningful. Every disciplined choice becomes another brick in the foundation of your future. Do not expect this transformation to happen overnight. Peace is not a destination you reach once. It is a practice you return to every single day. Some mornings your mind will feel calm, while other days it will feel unsettled. Some days patience will come naturally, while on others it will require tremendous effort. That is perfectly normal. Growth has never been about perfection. It has always been about returning to the path each time you wander from it. Remember that rivers become powerful not because they rush wildly in every direction, but because they continue flowing with quiet persistence. Mountains do not announce their strength. Trees do not compete with one another for height. Nature teaches us that what is truly strong does not constantly seek attention. It simply continues fulfilling its purpose. Let your life follow the same principle. Focus on becoming a person whose peace cannot be stolen by opinions, whose discipline cannot be broken by temporary emotions, and whose purpose cannot be distracted by the noise of the world. When your inner life becomes ordered, your outer life begins to reflect that order. Decisions become clearer, relationships become healthier, work becomes more meaningful, challenges become opportunities for growth instead of reasons to quit. It may seem as though everything is finally falling into place, but the truth is something even more powerful. The world around you has not suddenly become easier. You have become stronger, wiser, calmer, and more aligned with the person you were always capable of becoming. And once that transformation begins within, everything else naturally starts finding its rightful place.